Welcome to our channel. Please subscribe and like us. Thank you. A new style icon has grown up in the British royal family. This is the youngest and, in the opinion of many Britons, the most beautiful of the granddaughters of the now deceased Queen Elizabeth II. It looks like Lady Louise Windsor is following in the footsteps of not only her mother, but also the Duchess of Cambridge Catherine. Although the name of the Princess of Wales has always been on everyone's lips and associated with the British royal style in the first place, experts familiar with the closets of all the Windsor dynasty members believe that the title of the main titled fashionista may belong not only to Prince William's wife, but also to Countess Sophie. Even considering her younger age and chiseled figure, the Duchess of Cambridge still dresses much more conservatively than the Countess of Wessex. The eldest daughter-in-law of the late Queen Elizabeth II is not afraid of experimentation and always demonstrates memorable combinations, but always remains within the protocol. And apparently there is another fashionista growing up in Sophie's family. Lady Louise Windsor is already 19 years old, and the girl, who spent most of her childhood away from reporters, now more often appears in public. The press has already dubbed her the most beautiful granddaughter of the late Queen. And this is not surprising, as from her mother Louise got not only a sense of style, but also fine facial features and beautiful curls. It seems that until recently the youngest granddaughter of Elizabeth II did not pay serious attention to the closet, but now her images are compared with the style of other royals. In this area Miss Windsor may have a great future. The image of Lady Louise during the 70th anniversary of her grandmother's reign was most memorable to the public. The young lady then managed to compete in fashion and style not only with her mother, but with Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, and even Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, who came from the United States for the event. A white silk ghost dress in the style of the 1930s with a number of overstitched buttons and short sleeves with light ruffles and neat beige high-heeled shoes, a Jane Taylor London pink cap and a cone-shaped clutch created a feeling of freshness, lightness and innocence. Many at the British court praised this luminous look. At this point Louise began to be written about as a new icon of style, although until recently the girl was only mentioned when they wrote that she borrowed another item of clothing from her mother. Sophie, Countess of Wessex, has an extensive and colorful closet, consisting of designer clothes, usually perfectly cut and timeless. And her only daughter, of course, could not resist and start using her mother's supplies. Lady Louise is regularly seen in her mother's dresses, jackets and hats. And it should be noted that observers do not always find these experiments successful. More often than not, the problem is that the girl does not stitch things up to her size, and according to experts, they seem too aged. Nevertheless, many items that once belonged to Countess Sophie look great on her young daughter. One occasion that earned praise in the press was the 2019 Christmas service, to which Lady Louise arrived wearing a light-colored Stella McCartney plaid coat and a voluminous pink Jane Taylor headband to replace her hat. Her mother also wore a light-colored coat and burgundy headband. When she borrowed her mother's Peter Pilotto gown, Lady Louise was criticized by reviewers, as it was clearly not her size and didn't match her choice of shoes. But not everyone noticed that the same Countess Sophie outfit the public saw at the 2015 Chelsea Flower Show, her daughter broke it into two pieces. A little earlier, in March 2021, Lady Louise arrived at the service in memory of her late grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh, wearing a dark blue jacket with a zipper along the bottom edge from the same Countess of Wessex ensemble of 7 years ago. And the press had no complaints about him, especially considering the need to adhere to the mourning dress code. Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth II have always had a warm relationship with their youngest granddaughter. The Wessexes visited the royal couple more often than any other relative, and Louisa and her brother James spent almost every weekend with their grandparents, as well as the traditional vacations at Balmoral and Sandringham. After the passing of His Highness the Wessexes were the first of the entire royal family to speak to the press, and it was then that the public took note of how Lady Louisa had grown more genteel during the pandemonium, when she had been out of sight for a long time. Lady Louise also got her favourite hobby from the Duke of Edinburgh, horse-drawn carriage racing. Prince Philip adored driving competitions, and when the time came to withdraw from the sport, he passionately cheered on Louise, causing the royal fans to cringe. Like her grandfather, Miss Windsor always looked impeccable during athletic appearances. The Wessex daughter with her natural beauty and soft type really suits the country style. Plaid in natural shades, complemented by traditional details, and practical boots, similar to those that Catherine the Princess of Wales has not changed for over a decade, and buys for Princess Charlotte. By the way, equestrianism has united Louise not only with her grandfather, but also with her grandmother. Countess Sophie and Lady Louise were known to accompany Her Majesty on horseback rides while the monarch allowed herself such warm-ups. Perhaps the proximity factor was important here. The Wessexes lived closer to the late Queen than all the other Windsors. However, their daughter was also spotted riding in the Thames Valley without her grandmother. And it must be said, Miss Windsor's style in these moments is impeccable. Unlike Her Royal Highness Catherine, the Countess of Wessex rarely gives preference to wide pants with arrows, preferring tight-fitting models. But that suits her daughter very well. And, of course, fashion observers couldn't help but notice that the girl complemented the set with a long jacket and flared pants with a Chloe bag, the best echo of Louise's chosen aesthetics. Lady Louise is a romantic and modest girl, which is easy to understand from her appearance. She almost never parted with her large heart-shaped pendant on a chain and her favorite brown fringed leather bag. And many praise her for this. After all, the same Princess Catherine spending on clothes for official events sometimes surprises residents of the United Kingdom. And even Louise's habit of borrowing clothes from her mother against this background is perceived not as indifference, but as a high degree of responsibility. However, it is important to note that the wife of Prince William also quite often appears in public and in very inexpensive clothes, which have a relatively low cost. In this case, even inexpensive closet items and accessories always look flawless on Princess Catherine, emphasizing her unique image and unique style. By the way, some time ago it became known that Lady Louise entered the same university where Princess Catherine and Prince William studied. And while waiting for the results of the exams, the cousin of the future heir to the throne took a summer job. And this is not a prestigious court position or advertising business, but the position of an ordinary cashier. It also aroused the sympathy of the British. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like this video.